All right, joining me right now, national spokesperson for the Libre Initiative, Rachel Campos-Duffy. She is a Trump supporter and Fox News contributor and progressive radio host, Leslie Marshall, a Clinton supporter. Gosh, Leslie, he just can't resist. I mean, there he is in the Rose Garden with the Italian Prime Minister, but he's got to go after Trump.
Oh, I don't blame him. I mean, it's an election year. He's a Democrat. He wants a Democrat to take over the White House, and he obviously working with Secretary Clinton over the years. The two of them did repair that relationship from when they were running against each other. But I also think that he wants to make clear to the American people, and not just the president. I mean, Speaker Paul Ryan and others on the right have said the same thing, which is, although any election here and throughout the world can have some level of fraud, the stats show that over 14 years with approximately 1 billion votes, you're looking at approximately 35 cases, not enough to swing an election
and yet,
either way.
Rachel, what he's talking about in a broad sense is also, when you say rigged, it's in part the media establishment, right? The New York Times, the Washington Post, some of the mainstream media organizations, where they take every opportunity they can to bash him. And, you know, you go to any one of those websites right now, and what you see are a whole lot of articles about Trump and some of the challenges he faces, as opposed to, say, some of the articles about WikiLeaks or this FBI quid pro quo scandal that's haunting her now. So, you know, when he says rigged, is there some merit to that?
Absolutely. If you're talking about, you know, it's really easy if you're Barack Obama, who's had the most compliant, fawning press that any candidate or sitting president has ever had in the history of this country. So it's really easy for him to sit back.
And he did, by the way, going all the way back to Hillary Clinton, right? Remember when he ran against Clinton? And she was angry at the time because she accused the press of treating him better than they treated her?
Absolutely. I mean, just think about Obamacare when he rolled out that website, $1 billion website, his legacy legislation, and 9 people signed up and the website didn't work. I mean, the ridicule that a GOP president would have had with that kind of a disastrous rollout, it would have haunted him for the rest of his presidency. It's just a one-cycle thing, and the press forgets about it.
So that's part of the, I think, the rigged issue that he's referring to, among other things. Let me also ask you guys about Melania Trump. Now, she came out and gave a big interview. She addressed her husband's lewd comments for the very first time today with our own Ainsley Earhart on Fox News. Listen to this.
Those words, they were offensive to me, and they were inappropriate. And he apologized to me, and I accept his apology. He's not the man that we heard him on the tape with Billy Bush, because I know those people, they hook him on. They try to get from him some inappropriate and dirty language.
Okay, so she says it's Billy's fault. I'm curious as to whether or not this is going to have a big impact on women, because I'm kind of wondering, Leslie, if, you know, that was sort of last week's story, right? Hasn't everyone tried to move on? Shouldn't the campaign be moving on? Do we run the risk here that we go right back, the media being, into that story about Billy Bush and the lewd comments and the tape, et cetera? So in other words, if I'm his campaign manager, do I really want Melania talking about that today?
No, absolutely not, Trish. You hit it there. You're reminding people of an incident that, although polls haven't necessarily shown, especially down-ticket GOP candidates in the polls, but there are a number of people, as you know, throughout social media, calling into my radio show and others, male and female, that said that was the final straw for them, and they're either going to stay home, vote for Hillary, Gary Johnson, or Jill Stein after that. You don't remind them of that, and also you risk the hypocrisy out there. When Hillary Clinton defended her husband, she became, according to Donald Trump and many on the right, an enabler. And then a lot of people today and in the past 24 hours have been saying, Melania, you're doing the same thing your husband has accused Hillary Clinton of.
Okay, so, but, you know, at the same time, Rachel, she needs to stand by her man. She needs to express her support. Is it just that it's a few days too late? I mean, how does this help them right now?
Well, I think probably it calms down a lot of GOP women who might have been, teetering and nervous after watching or hearing those tapes with Billy Bush. But I think something that gets lost in all of this, Trish, is that this is a real family. And, when this election is over, she has to put this family back together again, no matter, whether they win or lose. And I think she was out there defending her family name, defending her husband. And look, I understand the hypocrisy.
Yeah, that's a good point. Finish. Yeah.
Well, I was just going to say also that Leslie, brought up the hypocrisy. I think the media has been falling over itself to put any of the women that have accused Donald Trump on television. I think the women that accused Hillary's husband were not treated the same. And frankly, I think it has a lot to do with classism. I think those women were working class women. I know, and I think there's a lack of understanding in the press for those women, and a lot more understanding for a journalist or a Manhattan socialite that comes out.
Is it classism, or is it just simply that the media is solving for its own equation here, and we have many members, and we're going to get to that in just a second, many members of the media that don't like conservatives, and therefore the story's not as productive for them.
It's classism and it's selective outrage.
Thank you so much. On that note, I want to continue that theme. I'm going to see you guys in a little bit. And Leslie Marshall for a look at what he needs to do there to try and win over some undecided people. Rachel, you heard Melania's advice earlier. Stay calm, stay focused, stay cool, and stay on the issues. Can he do that?
It's hard for him, because I think what he needs to do is what he's been unable to do on the campaign, which is make this about Hillary and not about himself. And in the last debate, you saw he took a lot of the baiting that Hillary put out in front of him, and he went for it. And look, he's got a lot to work with. I mean, the press has presented Hillary corruption as very speculative, but now we've seen WikiLeaks, and this stuff has been proven to be true. Giving contracts to donors of the foundation in Haiti, and flagging those ones that gave donations to the Clinton Foundation, $1 million from Qatar to the foundation, and whoa, suddenly they get a meeting with the State Department, something she told Obama she would not do.
In other words, there's some raw meat there. It's up to him to sort of chomp and bite it. But as you said, it's hard for him. He tends to internalize some of this stuff. What is it, Leslie, that really makes a great debater?
Well, according to the undecided, who are going to decide this election November 8th, although I don't really believe anybody in their heart is undecided at this point, they want the issues, okay? They want the issues. They don't want the personal attacks. So I would disagree with Rachel that you keep this about Hillary. You need to keep it on the issues. Because remember, some of the issues that Rachel has just mentioned, those matter to people that are already Trump supporters and are voting for Trump. What he and Secretary Clinton need to do is get those people who are undecided or claim to be at this point in their corner with such a tight race right now.
Go ahead, Rachel.
Well, I mean, look, of course he needs to talk about the issue. People are very upset about the economy. We had Obama coming out today saying that the economy's great, and people know that's not true. They know this has been the worst recovery since the Great Depression, and they know that poverty rates are higher than they have been in decades.
So I hear you on all that, but Rachel, in some ways, hasn't Hillary also become an issue herself? I mean, much as Hillary has made Trump an issue, inciting the violence, Democrats inciting violence at these rallies, et cetera, and so thus she's able to say, look at what kind of country you'd have with Donald Trump. Hasn't she now become an issue herself when you think about the corruption issues, or you think about the FBI and this quid pro quo with Patrick Kennedy and, offering positions for FBI agents overseas if they would only declassify certain amounts of information from her?
Absolutely. And look, he's got 1 million or so, millions of people watching. This is his chance to do what the press has not done to Hillary. So he has to take this opportunity to do that. But he should listen to Melania. He does need to keep it cool and calm and focused.
See, I think that's the skill to a great debater. You've got to remain disciplined. You can't get too emotional. You've got to keep your head clear and, really be able to discuss the issues in a meaningful way that makes sense to everyone back home. Mike Pence did a very good job, so hopefully Pence has given him some lessons. Thank you so much, Rachel and Leslie. Good stuff.